Divine Ancestral Wisdom. 12 miraculous teachings revealed for spiritual healing and transformation in the heart of Stony Brook. Where every breeze whispered of hope, Elizabeth's world was shattered. Her eldest son, once full of laughter and dreams, now lay frail and restless, gripped by a terminal illness. Despair clawed at Elizabeth's heart, shredding her steadfast faith and leaving her feeling abandoned. She had always cared for her family, pouring love into every meal and every prayer. Now, with the doctors declaring there were no options left, she felt as though the ground beneath her was crumbling away. Alone in her grief, she turned to the community chapel, a sacred sanctuary that resonated with the echoes of countless prayers. As she gathered her closest friends for a fervent novena to St. Jude, the patron saint of hopeless cases, the chapel transformed into a lighthouse amidst the storm of her despair. As hearts united, the air thickened with expectation. Candles flickered like stars, casting ethereal shadows on the aged stone walls. Suddenly, a warm light unfurled within the sanctuary. In that divine radiance, Elizabeth beheld shimmering figures of her ancestors, their faces radiant and serene. A hush enveloped the congregation as each ancestor offered 12 miraculous teachings, long buried within her family's spiritual lineage. Each lesson emanated a warmth, a gentle nudge toward healing and transformation. Yet, there was an urgency in their divine message. Elizabeth must confront her own disbelief and skepticism head-on. The whispers of her ancestors intertwined with the prayers, weaving a tapestry of hope that engulfed her as the days rolled by. Elizabeth wrestled with her faith. The first teaching urged her to embrace unwavering faith amid trials. But doubt licked at her heels like an unrelenting shadow. Every prayer felt both powerful and futile. Was she truly deserving of divine help? Did their family story even matter? The community, once a tapestry of strength, began to fray, their hope wavering like a flickering candle. Elizabeth's heart ached as uncertainty flooded her mind. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The night of the final prayer vigil dawned heavy with tension. The chapel brimmed with an electric anticipation. Voices lifted in collective prayer, echoing like the rustling of leaves on a stormy night. Elizabeth stood at the altar, her heart pounding. Just as doubt threatened to consume her, a collective warmth exploded in the room. Prayers intertwined desperately, echoing off the sacred walls. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of light enveloped the congregation, pulsating with a divine energy that made every heart race. Time seemed to suspend. Gasps rose as hope rekindled, painting faces with expectancy and wonder as the light dimmed. Elizabeth felt a rush of adrenaline. Had a miraculous shift occurred? Was healing truly possible? In that moment, she realized that their struggles could weave a narrative that inspired the entire village. Standing tall, heart racing, she faced the crossroads of uncertainty and faith. The chapel doors creaked open, letting in a fresh breeze, brushing against her cheek like a heavenly touch. Would she embrace the teachings and allow transformation not just for her son, but for the whole of Stony Brook? The candle flames flickered uncertainly, while Elizabeth leaned into the divine mystery that awaited just beyond her grasp, this time ready to confront what lay ahead. With a deep breath, Elizabeth stepped forward, closer to the altar, to the flickering candles that seemed to dance in rhythm with the pulse of her heart. The air around her felt charged, heavy with expectation and divine promise. As she stood there, memories washed over her. Nights spent with her son reading stories of hope and faith, laughter echoing through their home, and the unshakable bond that had always been their foundation. She turned her gaze to her friends, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of candlelight, eyes filled with a mix of anxiety and hope. This gathering was more than a prayer. It was a convergence of souls searching for answers, seeking solace in the love that bound them together. The murmurs of intercession flowed like a river, drawing Elizabeth into a deeper connection with her lineage, her ancestors watching over them with pride. Then, a gentle voice broke through the silence, resonating with clarity. "You are not alone," it whispered, echoing in her heart. Elizabeth recognized it as the voice of her grandmother, a woman who had faced trials with unwavering strength, grounding her family in a legacy of faith. The room seemed to swell with her presence, reminding Elizabeth of the resilience they all carried. Filled with a new determination, Elizabeth clasped her hands and began to speak. "We come together tonight to reclaim our faith. We admit our fears, but we will not let despair win. Together we ask for healing for my son, for all of us." The words spilled out, each one more powerful than the last. They hung in the air like incense, vaporous and fragrant, ascending to the heavens with each phrase. The flickering candles steadied, their flames growing brighter. It was as if the chapel itself responded, embracing her words and thickening the air with divine possibility. The transformation was palpable. She could feel the warmth of her ancestors, surrounding her like a protective cloak, urging her to lean deeper into faith. Elizabeth's voice grew more confident. "Tonight, we summon the light from our lineage. We ask that our burdens be lifted, that our hearts be healed." Her once trembling lips curled into a gentle smile as she felt a rush of warmth envelop her. That was when she realized miracles often come when we allow ourselves to connect, to believe, to fight against the odds stacked against us. Hope soared within the chapel. The congregation swayed with her words, drawing energy from one another. It was here, amidst the flickering flames and the harmonious prayers, that faith turned tangible. They were united in purpose, a sacred force of love rising against the darkness. Suddenly, a gasp echoed through the chapel, drawing all eyes toward the altar. From the depths of the shadows, a radiant light began to coalesce, illuminating the faces of the believers with purity and grace. They all felt a collective shiver. A divine encounter was unfolding before them as the light pulsed. Elizabeth's heart raced again. What was happening? Could this be the culmination of faith and hope, the manifestation of the divine promise? In this moment, she understood the true essence of her ancestors' teachings. Faith is not passive. It is an active journey that ignites transformation and opens doors to the unimaginable. The voices grew softer, the warmth enveloped them, and a profound silence settled over the chapel. Everyone felt the invitation. Was this the moment they had all been waiting for? Elizabeth held her breath, poised on the edge of revelation. What awaited them on the other side of this sacred light? What miracles were about to unfold? The light slowly swelled, bathing every corner of the chapel in a heavenly glow. It was as if divine hands were weaving through the gathered souls, brushing their hearts with tenderness. Elizabeth's breath caught, and she felt a swell of emotion, each beat of her heart echoing the prayers of those around her. She could see the anticipation etched into her friends' faces, eyes wide, mouths slightly open, hopeful like a child awaiting a great revelation. It was a scene of pure love, of collective faith, trembling with the energy of the Holy Spirit. A gentle wave of warmth rolled through the room, and with it came a sound that enveloped them all, a soft melody, a harmony so familiar yet utterly transcendent. Elizabeth could hardly believe her ears. It was the song of their ancestors, threads of generations woven into one. "Can you hear that?" she whispered, breaking the silence but wrapped in awe. One of her friends, Rachel, leaned closer. "It's beautiful, it feels like home." Tears shimmered in her eyes, reflecting the light around them. Yes, Elizabeth nodded, feeling tears of her own spill over. It was a moment of connection, an affirmation that they were indeed not alone. The ancestors were here, and they guided them forward. The better part of her understood that the light was not just a phenomenon. It was a sign of unity, a balm over their collective scars. With the melody wafting through the air, Elizabeth felt compelled to speak again. "Tonight, we stand on the shoulders of giants, those who fought and prayed for us. Let their faith be our foundation. For every burden we carry, remember that it is shared." As she spoke, the light pulsed again, and a figure began to form within it. The congregation gasped, hearts beating wildly as they watched with bated breath. Elizabeth's fingers trembled as she pointed toward the altar. "Do you see that?" The figure became clearer, a woman cloaked in a shimmering light, her features soft yet strong. Elizabeth recognized the familiar contours. It was her grandmother, the very same who had spoken to her heart moments earlier. "Grandma," she whispered, unable to contain the swell of love and longing. "Elizabeth," the woman's voice echoed back, resonating like a chorus of angels. "You have come far. Your faith reaches beyond realms, and now is the time to claim what has been promised." The air around them crackled with anticipation. Elizabeth could feel the weight of countless generations pushing through her being. "We're asking for healing," Elizabeth stuttered, the words spilling out with urgency. "For those who suffer. Please help us." Her grandmother smiled, a warm glow enveloping her, making the impossibility of the moment feel almost tangible. "Healing begins with understanding and acceptance. You must forgive, but also understand the beauty of transformation through trials. Your struggles are the soil where faith grows." The words settled deep in Elizabeth's heart, a seed that would take root. The chapel seemed to tremble, each soul resonating with the profound truth spoken. Light erupted from the altar, washing over them like a gentle tide, carrying with it healing energy that filled the room. As laughter mingled with tears, Elizabeth sensed a great unbinding, chains of past hurts falling away. Hope sparked anew in her heart, igniting every corner of her spirit. It was as if their cries had been heard, and love poured endlessly from above, infusing them with a sense of divine purpose. But then, as quickly as it started, the light began to dim. The enchanting melody softened, and the figure of her grandmother started to fade, leaving behind an echo of warmth and undying love. In that moment, Elizabeth felt an urgency wash over her, a calling not just to receive, but to act. "We have to share this," she exclaimed, grasping her friend's hands tightly. "What we experienced tonight, it must spread." A movement of faith and healing. This was meant to be shared. The chapel whispered with promise, and with it came uncertainty. Would they be brave enough to act upon this revelation? Would they truly become vessels of this divine message, taking the power of healing beyond these walls? As Elizabeth stood at the brink of destiny, a question lingered in the air. What would their next steps look like? The light still shimmered as it beckoned them forward into the unknown. The air pulsed with anticipation, and Elizabeth stood with her friends, hearts racing and spirits ignited. The fading light cast soft shadows across their faces, a reminder of the divine encounter that had just unfolded. The song of their ancestors lingered like a sweet fragrance in the air, each note still vibrating within their souls. "We cannot let this moment slip away," she urged, her eyes searching the faces around her. "So much was given to us tonight. Healing is not just for ourselves. It's meant for the world." Rachel nodded, brushing tears from her cheeks. "But how do we do that?" It feels so overwhelming. Elizabeth took a deep breath. "One step at a time, Rachel. We begin by sharing our experiences, by speaking the truth of what we've felt. As we open our hearts, we create space for others to find their healing too." A murmur of agreement rippled through the group. Inspired by the light and legacy they had just witnessed, they began to plan. Elizabeth spoke of hosting gatherings, moments where they could collectively pray and share stories of struggle and triumph. "Let us invite our community. Let us create our own sacred space where healing can flow freely." As the idea blossomed, laughter replaced earlier hesitations. They shared wild dreams of bringing hope to those who felt lost, turning the chapel into a beacon of light for all. Each suggestion, from prayer circles to art workshops, blended together like the melodies of the ancestors that still echoed in their minds. But amid the excitement, a shadow of doubt lurked. Elizabeth noticed some of her friends glancing at each other, uncertain. "Are we ready to take on such a responsibility?" a voice finally asked, and doubt echoed in the chamber like a cold wind. "Yes," Elizabeth replied firmly. "If we don't step out in faith, we risk losing this precious moment. The world needs our courage." The healing starts with us acknowledging our fears and overcoming them together. We are not alone. We've always had the support of those who came before us. With renewed resolve, the group clasped hands, forming a circle of unity. Elizabeth could feel the warmth radiating between them, a tangible pulse of energy that strengthened their bond. "Let us pray," she suggested, her voice steady. They began to pray aloud, a chorus of voices weaving together to create a tapestry of gratitude and hope. Each prayer lifted into the air, mingling with the last remnants of the divine light, which seemed to twinkle like the stars above. Each request for guidance and strength deepened their connection, not just to each other, but to the ancestors who had ushered them into this moment. Suddenly, again, the light surged, brightening the chapel. An unexpected chill swept over the room, as if the very essence of heavenly presence was wrapping around them once more, coaxing them toward deeper understanding. Then, a realization washed over Elizabeth. "Tonight is just the beginning," she whispered, her heart racing. "We are part of something greater. This is a divine calling." But even as hope surged, a nagging question lingered in the back of her mind. What were the specific teachings that would guide their path? What else had been promised for them to discover? The flickering light seemed to craft an unseen path before them, suggesting mysteries untold. With each gathered breath, they stood on the precipice of divine revelation, poised to transform their lives and those around them. As Elizabeth squeezed her friend's hands, she felt the gravity of the journey ahead. Would they be bold enough to step out of their comfort zones, to share the profound power they had felt? With hearts aligned, they stood together, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. What truths of healing would be revealed next on their journey? The chapel, now alive with a vibrant glow, pulsed with energy as if the very walls were bearing witness to the sacred commitment forged among them. Elizabeth could feel the pulse of her friends' hearts, a unified rhythm beating with hope and purpose. Yet, a gentle reminder of humility whispered in her soul. Divine calling was not to be taken lightly. Each step had to be rooted in intent rather than impulse. "Let us not forget," Elizabeth began, her voice steady amidst the comforting warmth of camaraderie. "This journey will ask much from us. It's about listening just as much as it is about speaking." Her words hung in the air, cultivating silence filled with thought. Each friend absorbed Elizabeth's wisdom, reflecting on their willingness to learn from the sacred silence that followed. Their faces shone with determination, but also with the cautious respect of true spiritual seekers. "Elizabeth, what do we seek to share with others?" Rachel pondered, her brow furrowed. "What do we need to teach them about healing?" Elizabeth closed her eyes for a moment, drawing on the familiar presence that had enveloped them before. She envisioned the light, a guide through hidden paths. "We will share 12 teachings," she stated, her conviction growing. 12 lessons to help them find healing and restore their spirits. The friends exchanged confused but intrigued glances. Elizabeth felt the urge to elaborate, to unveil what she perceived in that radiant moment. "These teachings come not only from our experiences but through the whispers of our ancestors. They transcended struggles and hardships, paving the way for us. We honor them by sharing their legacy," she affirmed. The air thickened with anticipation. Elizabeth began to outline her thoughts, her voice ringing with clarity. "First, we will guide them to find stillness. In silence, God meets us. In stillness, we hear the softest whispers of truth. It's where healing begins, in the heart of quiet." Nods of agreement emerged as their hopes entwined with the words. With each teaching, Elizabeth felt herself being transported into a shared space of connection, each resonance amplifying their collective purpose. Next is gratitude. We must teach that acknowledging the light, even in darkness, opens the door to healing. Every moment counts, and there is power in thankfulness, Elizabeth continued as she spoke of love, forgiveness, and the importance of community. The room felt charged, each word igniting flickers of light in their hearts. The experience became tangible. They could almost grasp the teachings as sacred gifts waiting to be shared beyond the walls of the chapel. Yet, amidst the warmth of their revelations, a sudden gust of wind swept through the hall, relentless and sharp. The candles flickered wildly, casting dancing shadows as if something unseen was stirring. Elizabeth paused, her breath caught in her throat. What was that? Rachel gasped, the thrill of mystery hanging heavy in the air. I don't know, Elizabeth answered, a thrill coursing through her veins. But perhaps it is a sign or a challenge. A realization bloomed from the depths of her spirit. They had started a sacred journey through commitment and prayer, but what now stood before them was the mysterious intersection of their intentions with divine will. What else awaits us on this path? Elizabeth whispered, her heart racing as the shadows danced around them. What unseen steps will unfold as we embrace these teachings? An electric tension surrounded them, each friend poised on the edge of discovery. They felt both profoundly small and infinitely courageous, ready to step into the unknown. What revelations truly awaited them next? The wind's caress seemed to whisper in response, sending shivers down their spines. Elizabeth's gaze fell on the flickering candles, mesmerizing in their dance. An invisible thread seemed to weave through the air, pulling them closer together, binding their hearts as one. They were not merely friends. They were seekers, on the edge of a profound revelation. What do you think it means? Andrew broke the silence, his voice barely above a whisper. The intensity of the moment ignited questions that pulsed through each individual heart. I believe we are being invited deeper, Elizabeth replied, her conviction bolstered by the unexpected gust. Perhaps it's a call to reflect on what we can truly learn from each other, and from our ancestors. Insights must come from a sacred space, where we are all open and willing to receive. The group stood silent for a moment, allowing her words to wash over them. Elizabeth felt a trembling anticipation building in her chest. Could the teachings they were meant to share be interwoven with a greater purpose than they had initially realized? I remember something my grandmother used to say. Rachel chimed in, her enthusiasm kindled. She would tell me that our ancestors never leave us. They walk beside us in times of need, guiding us toward what we are meant to learn. Yes, Elizabeth exclaimed, her spirit lifted by the connection. Every lesson we share is a thread binding us to those who came before us. Imagine the wisdom they can infuse into our teachings. We are not alone in this. As they pondered this profound truth, the wind swirled gently around them once more, creating an atmosphere both reverent and charged. It felt as if the past and present danced together, intertwining their destinies. Let us name the first teaching now, Elizabeth urged, instinctive clarity sparking in her heart. Stillness is only the beginning. For each teaching we share, let us draw from our ancestors' stories, transforming those lessons into personal wisdom for the people we meet. It would honor them, Rachel added. Each story would carry their voices, allowing others to hear their wisdom as we share our own experiences of healing. They took a moment, savoring the possibilities this could bring. Each friend began to conjure memories of their family, history's times, when courage shone in the face of adversity, moments of compassion that transformed hearts. Their hearts swelled at the thought of honoring those who had paved the way before them. What can we draw from love? Then, Andrew posed thoughtfully. Isn't love like a lighthouse in stormy seas, guiding us home? A great insight, Elizabeth replied, excitement bubbling in her chest. Yes, love is a powerful force that transcends all trials. We must share that love is both action and intention, that it breathes life into healing. As Elizabeth spoke, the room began to shimmer with a new energy. Each heart glimmered like the candles around them, a constellation of souls united in their purpose. The friends brightened with the possible teachings they could share. Forgiveness unfolded like petals in bloom, and the need for community sang like birds returning home. They felt the rush of creation, the bittersweet nostalgia blended with hope. And just then, the wind changed again, spiraling with a strength that stirred their souls. It felt as if the very fabric of reality around them shifted, urging them to listen more closely. What lies beyond this moment? Elizabeth asked, reflecting on the mysteries ahead. With hearts ignited and eyes bright with expectation, they stood ready to explore. But in the shadows loomed uncertainty, woven together with divine challenge. What inevitable crossroads awaited them? What trials would test their resolve as they pieced together the intricate fabric of love, healing, and ancestral wisdom? Prepared yet trembling, they took a step forward, into the unknown, what awaited them in the depths of divine truth. The air thickened with anticipation as they stepped into the unfolding mystery. The flickering candlelight illuminated their faces, casting shadows that danced like the uncertain thoughts in their minds. They exchanged glances, each wondering what awaited them in this sacred venture. The ever-present wind murmured around them, almost as if it carried the voices of their ancestors, urging them onward. Elizabeth felt a warm glow in her chest, igniting her courage to speak. What if we listen closely, not just to our own thoughts, but to what the universe desires to reveal to us? What if these teachings are not just ours to uncover, but gifts from those who have walked this path before? Andrew nodded thoughtfully. Connection is essential. We must honor those connections. This isn't a solo journey. Each of us is a channel of something greater. Let us open our hearts and invite whatever comes. They closed their eyes for a brief moment, feeling the cool air on their skin, inhaling deeply to invite clarity into their minds. They were suspended in this single moment, a breath shared among them. The surrounding atmosphere buzzed with a spirit that felt tangible, almost alive. I remember a story, Rachel began, her voice steady and sure. There was a time when my great-grandfather faced tremendous obstacles. He turned to his community, allowing love and unity to guide him. In doing so, he not only found solutions but forged bonds that lasted beyond his lifetime. That's the essence of community, lifting each other up through shared love. Community is indeed a bridge, Elizabeth replied, her heart swelling with understanding. It allows us not just to receive support but to give it freely, nurturing the seeds of health in one another. Are we then not called to cultivate this within our gatherings? Yes, Andrew exclaimed, fervor igniting within him. Just like roots of a great tree intertwine and support one another, we must ensure our connections are vibrant and alive. Together we can weather any storm. Again, the wind swirled, as if validating their words. This time, it felt as though the whispers of their ancestors resonated with urgency. They each pressed their hands together in a gesture of unison, a simple yet profound declaration of their intention. What teaching should we explore next? Rachel asked, the excitement tinging her voice. Perhaps a message of resilience? That's something we all need to embody? Elizabeth's eyes sparkled. Yes, resilience can be the backbone of our teachings. We can share stories of triumph against adversity, moments that show how deeply we are loved, even when the path seems rocky. And so, they journeyed through tales of struggles and joys. Each story was a thread, woven into the tapestry of their collective experience. The weight of the past mingled gracefully with the present, unveiling a brighter path forward as they engaged in this sacred sharing. Their laughter mingled with tears, a testament to love's fortitude. With each story shared, truths began to emerge. Wisdom unfolded effortlessly, illuminating their hearts. Suddenly, the candles flickered violently, casting 1,000 shadows across the walls. The wind surged once more, and a sound like distant drums echoed in their hearts. A palpable energy filled the room, creating a sense of reverence that silenced them. Something significant is at work here, Elizabeth whispered, her voice trembling slightly with awe. What if our ancestors are not just guiding us, but also preparing us for a moment of revelation? What if they wish to share a greater truth? With a collective intake of breath, they felt their hearts synchronize, a beautiful rhythm of anticipation. How much deeper could their journey go? What divine wisdom was waiting to be unveiled, just beyond the fragile veil of their understanding? The air felt electric, urging them forward. Days of exploration loomed ahead, filled with potential and destiny. But as they braced for what was to come, a question lingered in the stillness, echoing in the sacred space they had created. What divine gift was waiting to be revealed through their unfolding story? The hush enveloped them, thick with expectancy, as if time itself had paused. The flickering candles bathed the room in a golden glow, illuminating their faces, which wore expressions filled with hope and longing. Each heartbeat echoed in unison, a harmonious resonance that connected them to something greater than themselves. The air, now charged with divine energy, crackled with a sense of impending revelation. Suddenly, Andrew broke the silence, his voice barely above a whisper. "Do you sense it? This powerful presence is pushing us to delve deeper. It's like a gentle tug at our souls, urging us to unravel the mysteries of our lives." Rachel nodded, her brow furrowed in thought. "It reminds me of a river, how its current, though sometimes swift, also carries us towards new horizons. We are part of this current, aren't we?" "Yes, we are," Elizabeth replied, her excitement palpable. "Just like in the stories we shared, each of our experiences contribute to this flow. It's a beautiful reminder that our challenges have purpose." The wind swirled outside, and they could hear the whisper of nature, the soft rustling, the inviting calls of birds. It felt as if the cosmos itself was supporting them, offering comfort for the path ahead. In that moment, they closed their eyes again, allowing the serenity of their surroundings to wash over them. "Let us seek guidance together," Andrew suggested, holding his hands outstretched as if to collect the wisdom from the air around them. "We must quiet our minds and listen intently." As they sank into silence, a profound stillness enveloped the room. It was sacred, a space where divine understanding could flow freely. Each of them felt an internal stirring, like a flame gradually igniting. It became clearer. The teachings awaited discovery, just a heartbeat away. And with that openness, a vision began to unfurl in their minds. Flickers of light danced behind their closed eyes, accompanied by soft notes of harmony that resonated deeply. It felt as though they were being taken on a spiritual journey, tracing the lineage of faith that spanned generations. "Remember the stories," Rachel urged them softly. "They carry the spirit of our ancestors, their struggles, and their triumphs. They want us to tap into that strength. We must honor their legacy." Suddenly, a deep, echoing drumbeat vibrated through the ground, reverberating within their very souls. Each pulse was a reminder of life as cycles, valleys of despair and mountains of joy. The energy spiraled around them, a divine interplay of the seen and unseen. "Look," Andrew exclaimed as he pointed upwards, his eyes wide. "The candles are glowing brighter. The light, it's revealing more." The flame shifted, casting illuminating reflections that morphed into images of hands joined in prayer, of laughter shared during times of sorrow, and healed hearts glowing like embers in the night. It was an outpouring of love, a testimony of resilience across generations. Elizabeth felt tears welling up in her eyes, the kind that come from a place deeper than sorrow, filled instead with grace and gratitude. "We are shown the legacy we inherit," she breathed, her voice choking with emotion. "It is filled with hope and the promise of healing." Through their shared experience, they began to weave together a tapestry of sacred teachings. Each story seemed to shine a light on a different aspect of resilience, courage in the face of hardship, love amidst solitude, and the beauty of forgiveness. As the vision faded, reality reasserted itself, the light returning to the candles. But the warmth of their connection lingered in the air, a palpable reminder of what could be achieved together, through faith and unity. "What comes next is pivotal," Rachel murmured, her heart racing with excitement. "We've touched something profound, but there's still more to unravel." "Absolutely," Andrew agreed. "Let us reflect on these revelations. What is the next step for us to carry forward this divine wisdom?" And with those questions hanging in the air, a deep knowing settled within them. They were at a crossroads, ready to embark on a journey of spiritual transformation. They sensed another layer of understanding yet to be uncovered, a new dawn waiting to break. But what awaited them beyond their heartfelt revelations? What divine challenge loomed on the horizon, urging them to stretch their faith even further? The answers waited, just beyond their reach, beckoning them to continue the journey into the vastness of faith and understanding. The moment hung in the air, charged with anticipation. As they exchanged glances, their hearts beat in a rhythm of unity, echoing the profound journey that lay ahead. It was as if the very walls around them pulsed with life. A gentle whisper beckoned them to lean in closer to the mysteries unveiled. Have you ever thought about what it truly means to carry this legacy? Elizabeth asked, her voice steady now, filled with newfound determination. To not just remember the past but to live it, embody it? Rachel nodded, feeling a spark of energy. Yes, it's about transformation, about taking those stories and allowing them to shape our actions today. That legacy isn't stagnant. It breathes in us. Andrew, driven by inspiration, leaned forward. Let us challenge ourselves. We've been gifted this insight. We must ask, how can we be vessels for this love and wisdom? How can we share it with others? The wind rustled the leaves outside, a soft chorus that seemed to echo their thoughts. It was as if nature herself was encouraging their assertion, an affirmation of the path they were about to take. An unspoken agreement settled among them. They would in the stillness that followed. A wave of clarity washed over Rachel. Imagine each of us reaches out to someone, a friend, a stranger, anyone who might need a reminder of hope. We could share our stories and remind them of their strength, of that beautiful legacy. Andrew grinned, the vision igniting a fire within him. We could gather others like us. Create a space where people can come together, share, and uplift one another. It would be community built on the love we've witnessed. Yes, Elizabeth echoed, her eyes lighting up with joy. Together, we could create a movement, one rooted in resilience and faith. We can model how our struggles are not just ours but part of something larger. The thought of community sparked a chord. They could feel the divine energy pushing them, wrapping around them like a warm blanket. Each of their hearts was a compass, guiding them forward into the unknown. Suddenly, the candle flames danced wildly, casting erratic shadows that flickered around the room. As if the very air around them was alive, the vibrant energy encapsulated their excitement, fueling their intentions. It's almost as if the universe is affirming our desires. Andrew exclaimed, caught in the moment. Elizabeth closed her eyes, allowing the warmth to envelop her. What if we centered this gathering around a theme of healing? People carry so much within them: pain, doubt, fear. It's time we help illuminate their paths. Rachel's spirit soared. Yes, a healing light. We could combine our experiences, the struggles of faith, the beauty of hope. This could be a sanctuary for transformation. The words hung in the air, a divine promise of what could be. Each of them absorbed the weight of their decisions, understanding that this was just the beginning. Yet, despite their eagerness, there was a quiet understanding that challenges would arise. With renewed purpose, they clasped hands. A circle of faith, an unbreakable bond woven together by their shared commitment. They closed their eyes, breathing in deeply, allowing the divine energy within them to swell and grow, intertwining their hearts and intentions. Let us pray for guidance, Andrew whispered, his voice laced with sincerity. As they prayed, the room filled with an atmosphere of peace. Each syllable, each breath invited clarity, urging them to lean into their mission. They felt the weight of generations behind them, nudging them onward, charging them to be the beacon of hope they longed to see in the world. But as their prayers lifted up, questions lingered: what trials awaited them on this journey? Would their faith hold strong in the face of adversity? Could they truly navigate this calling together? The light from the candles flickered, casting an ethereal glow upon their faces, hinting at the profound revelations still ahead. A destination lay ahead, shrouded in divine mystery, waiting for them to step boldly into the unfolding story. The chapel brimmed with light and warmth, the culmination of their journey washing over Elizabeth and her friends like a gentle wave. The glow that had descended upon them was not just a sign but a promise that their prayers were heard and their hearts understood. Each flickering candle illuminated the faces around her, faces alive with hope, courage, and a newfound determination to act. Tonight, we step into our purpose, Elizabeth declared, her voice a powerful whisper that seemed to awaken everyone present. As we embark on this journey of sharing our teachings, we will listen to the call to guide others towards healing and unity. The atmosphere buzzed, thick with anticipation. They all yearned to become vessels of divine grace, empowered to lift others from the depths of despair. The essence of their ancestors hovered around them, reminding them of the strength embedded in their lineage. Together, we will share those 12 teachings. Andrew spoke, his enthusiasm palpable as he looked into each friend's eyes. Each lesson will offer hope, spark faith, and inspire a connection to the divine. A collective murmured affirmation swept through the group, a sacred promise to honor the wisdom passed down through generations. They began to envision a vibrant tapestry of gatherings where others might draw strength from their stories, finding comfort in their shared humanity. "Let us hold these gatherings in the chapel," Rachel suggested, her voice filled with excitement. "This place is a sanctuary. It's where the light first found us. We can facilitate healing sessions, art workshops, prayer circles, a space to bring people together in love and faith." The urgency in her tone ignited the fire within them. "Yes," Elizabeth proclaimed, the joy spilling over. "We'll create a safe space for anyone feeling lost. It's time to remind everyone that healing thrives in community. We're better together." Tears glimmered in their eyes, a mixture of heartache and joy. They were ready to embrace the unknown, to weather the trials ahead. Yet, the whispers of caution echoed in the back of their minds. They knew the temptation of uncertainty could overshadow their well-intended path. Challenges might arise, Elizabeth cautioned gently, her heart racing at the thought. But we must remember that faith grows through adversity. Each trial we face will only serve to strengthen our resolve. With their hands clasped tightly, they formed a sacred circle, a powerful emblem of unity and support. "We will pray for courage and clarity to navigate each obstacle together," Andrew said firmly, grounding them in shared purpose. As they bowed their heads, the steady breaths of their whispered prayers filled the air, melding into a harmonious plea for guidance. In that moment, each of them felt a deep connection, as if the fabric of reality wrapped around their intentions, promising divine assistance on their journey ahead. Just then, a rush of wind stirred through the chapel, ruffling the leaves outside, and drawing their attention back to the flickering flames. The light grew brighter, illuminating their surroundings in a halo of warmth. Looking up, they could see something shimmering in the air. The veil between the earthly and divine felt thin, almost tangible. "Do you see that?" Rachel gasped, pointing towards the altar where a new light converged, swirling with delicate grace. It was captivating. Each brush of light seemed to hold the essence of their ancestors, cheering them on. "It's a blessing," Elizabeth breathed, tears welling again. "Our path is affirmed. This light signifies hope, love, and a promise of healing. We must walk forward boldly." In that moment they understood. The teachings, the shared stories, would not only transform others but would also continue to heal them. Each session they created, every story shared, would knit the fabric of their community tighter, illuminating the shadows that clouded their hearts and minds. "Let us begin with the first gathering this week," Elizabeth exclaimed, energized. "We'll invite those who have been aching for healing, those who've lost their way. We'll initiate this journey of transformation with our families and friends." Excitement flooded their hearts, filling the air with laughter and fervent plans to spread their mission. They spoke of setting dates, creating flyers, and connecting with community members who had once been adrift. As their conversation flowed, Elizabeth felt an overwhelming sense of purpose swell within her. The pain of the past would now become the motivation for their movement. Each struggle, each victory, would resonate through the teachings they shared. The evening wrapped around them like a divine embrace, filled with promises of healing, love, and endless hope. Together, they ventured forth, fortified by faith and an unwavering belief in their calling. They would step boldly into whatever was to come, empowered by the light that now radiated through them. As they laughed and planned, one truth became undeniably clear. They were not just keepers of their ancestors' wisdom, but torchbearers of a collective legacy ready to illuminate the world with divine love, now and forever. The journey toward transformation was only beginning, but they stood ready, knowing they would never be alone. They felt the presence of generations behind them, pushing them onward, toward a destiny filled with divine purpose. Now is your moment. Don't just witness. Be part of this transformational journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this message of hope. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about the ending. You never know who might be inspired by your words. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. You need to support this channel, for only true servants of God understand the importance of sharing the light. Don't wait even one more second.